Welcome to Burghley. I'm Jennifer Saunders, and for some extraordinary reason I've been given the great privilege of walking the course this year with Captain Mark Phillips, the course designer. Not only a great course designer, but also one of my great heroes when I was growing up, because he's a brilliant three-day event rider. Now, let's go and meet him and see what challenges he's got up his sleeve this year. Well, here we are sitting on the beautiful fence number 1, which isn't really a great challenge. I mean, this looks fairly straightforward. I presume you keep them straightforward at the beginning. And there's 34 fences with, if you took all the alternatives, 52 fences to jump. What special challenges do you think they're facing this year?
Well, this way around Burghley Park, we know it's really difficult to get the time. So what I've done this way is to give them lots of options. And there's, I think, 11 places where they can take the one side, which is the quick way, or the other side, which is obviously easier, but it's more steps, more time. So riders have actually got to decide what they think is good for their horse and where they think they may have to be more prudent and waste a little time. But if they do that too many times, yeah, they're not going to make it.
Okay, well, let's go and have a look. So from fence 1 to Lambert's sofa, presumably these are just fences to get the horse into a rhythm.
Yeah, fence 2 comes up real quick. And I think riders will just sort of, just be take it steady, just jump these 2 fences to get horses warmed up and going, and then they're ready to set off out into the country. So
they're sort of just standard fences. I mean, everything looks big to me, I have to tell you. But
I think if you're...
if you're at this level, these are just the
If you're riding a Burghley horse, it's got a nice profile.
Gymkhana.
The Lambert sitting on the left, just a nice fence to get warmed up in.
Lovely. And so the third fence, the Fairfax table, is just a big spread that's...
Yeah, it's the first sort of really big fence on the course. It's got a 6-foot top spread. But by then, horses are starting to get into their real cross-country rhythm. They're starting to go at 25 miles an hour. Riders are starting to have fun, we hope.
Yes, we hope. Okay, now we're on to fence number 4, which is the first question really for the horses, isn't it, this? Just what they see and what they think.
Yeah, they've got a short turn, which actually helps the rider set up for the fence and actually takes care of the pace. Because here, when the horses get to it, they look as though they're going to be jumping into the lake. And it's not until the last moment they can actually see that they've got grass to land on before running down into the water. And of course, it's quite steep down here.
It is quite steep. I mean,
if you come too fast, you can get into trouble.
Because it has actually taken out some, well, one particular big name in the past.
Well, a couple of years ago, Michael Young came down here going way too fast, and there was a big splash in the middle here. But when he came on his second horse, Sam, he came a lot slower.
Trotted
which caused
gently.
a lot of mirth in the rider's tent.
So, under here, over what will be the repositioned Range Rover.
Yeah, the boat with the vela, that it'll be like sort of 5-10 metres just the other side of this centre arch. But this is really just an exercise to let the horses get their feet wet, but also it's a place where riders will find it a little bit difficult to stay with the clock because they can't come through the water here at 25 miles an hour. It just slows them up a little bit. After this boat, we're coming up to the minute mark, and then really the warm-up's over and the questions start. So the riders can start to get a bit nervous.
So get ready.
Number 5, the anniversary splash. It's $1.40 in front, $1.45 behind. That's 4.7, 4.9, 6-foot top spread. Big fence, but inviting. Riders won't be too frightened of this. They'll be more concerned about what comes next. Yeah, they've got a bending line. They go over the hump here. So obviously, keeping the horse balanced on his feet is really the big question. Then nobody ever really likes the downhill approach into water. So this, it's only 1 metre high, but it looks a lot bigger. It
looks big. I mean, this looks... I'll go the other side, and people can see the drop. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it's a decent question.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask a question here, but not such a big question that many people. We had an early bath and took the early walk home.
Good, good. So this is manageable. And on then gallop over the island and on to quite a few little questions.
Yeah, the other side is a whole other story.
So through the water, and here's the direct route. Fence number 6, ABC, straight in front of us. Up this bank?
Yeah, I think they have to treat this bank a little bit like a step, and so really make an effort to jump up the bank.
Yeah.
And then they've got 2 strides to this corner where they have to take on not a stupid angle, but really quite an acute angle, where obviously there's a big chance for glance off.
And the alternative is time.
Yeah, this is the first place where the riders have got to make a choice, because if they don't want to take this corner on, they have to come up by the swans, up the step, bounce over the log, and then they've got 4 strides to what is an easier corner with not so much angle.
And in the event of a glance off, you can come round over this alternative here.
Yeah, and that's just really a get out of jail fence.
Right.
So that, because the reapproach here is not super attractive. So just to go around there, hop over that, that one is really just a get out of jail.
Right, fence 7. Now, this to me is terrifying.
Me too.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that. I thought it was just I was being wimpy.
No,
but
it's maximum height, maximum spread. So it's 4 foot high.
Yeah.
6'7" wide.
And built. I mean, it's just a block.
Well, it's a real 4-star fence.
Yeah.
But my insurance is the takeoff, where we've got a little bit of a ramp, like the end of an aircraft carrier, that sort of launches, we hope.
So they're coming up straight over.
We hope.
And there's no rail to sort of...
Nope.
No, nothing. Okay. It's that big! It's big. But I know horses jump these things, and I know a lot of riders will think that's a piece of cake because you can see it, you know where to take off, we're over, we're on our way.
I think actually it frightens riders as well.
Oh, right, okay.
But that's my insurance policy, because when the riders are frightened, yeah, they help the horse and make sure they jump it properly. They don't take a chance here.
Okay. Because it's unforgiving.
Very.
Good. Exciting. Oh, I just want to see them jump now. So, here we are at Capabilities Cutting. They've come up the hill, having done the slate. They can go either side of this tree here, down into the road. No jumps in the road this year.
Well, I think the cutting's going to slow them up without me wasting an effort.
Yeah.
So it does a job like a fence.
Okay.
And then we've got the Pardubici, which is a massive fence.
I mean, this looks like a big steeplechase fence.
Yeah, but if you put this one on the Grand National, a lot of people would go SH1D.
I mean, it's big.
Yeah, it's got 8 foot base spread, 4'7" high, but on the downslope, the optic's quite special. A real Burghley fence.
Big. Oh yes, bigger than me, yet again. Every fence is bigger than me.
Don't worry about it. And then we're in the bottom here, we're coming up to the 2-minute mark.
Okay. So here we are at the new bit.
Storm Doris.
Storm Doris, and these are trees that came down in Storm Doris.
Yeah, they're 3 poplar trees. Well, these sticks, they're 35 foot long. They each weigh sort of 8 to 10 tons.
Easy.
They took a bit of getting in here.
Yeah, I bet. And how are we jumping this? So you've got from 9, 10, 11 here.
So this first log is 9.
Right.
The middle log is 10, and the third log is 11 AB because it's got a little extra effort.
Okay. So
the quick way?
This way?
Is to jump by the red flag here.
Yeah.
And then you've got 2 strides down to the corner with the bush on it, which is a very big corner.
That looks quite inviting, doesn't it?
Until you get there.
Okay, let's get there. I mean, I think the logs seem solid and nice to jump.
And then it's a big fence.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's huge.
And you've only got 2 strides in the approach. So.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, and you've got
So you've
the angle.
literally got to jump there.
Yeah, and you've got the angle, therefore you've got the chance for a glance off again. So it's a big question.
Yeah, that is a big question.
You've got a longer alternative where you jump the first corner. You've got a bending 3 strides to this log, and then 5 strides to the little log where the bee is. And that really is just a time waster to get a balance between the 2 sides.
Okay.
So if you take the easier side, yeah, it's probably 5 or 6 seconds more.
Okay.
And then it's the long climb up Winners Avenue.
So Winners Avenue, galloping on swiftly.
Yeah, but it is uphill.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay, right.
riders, they want to make up a bit of time, but they don't want to go too quickly and take too much out of their horse, energy-wise. But the cordwood pile, it's a straightforward fence, actually a little bit of a breather for the horses, but it's really when riders have the time to think and start to make a plan for the rest of the course.
Great.
Top riders feed Bailey's Performance Balancer so their horses get all the nutrients they need for outstanding muscle tone and top line, with the strength and power to perform, whatever the discipline. They see the benefits of optimum nutrition, which supports horses' stamina, well-being and recovery, so they leave nothing to chance. Optimize your horse's diet with Bailey's Performance Balancer.
So I'm a horse. I'm just seeing a straightforward steeplechase fence.
Yeah, fence 13, the Cotswold Leap. And from here, it doesn't look so bad. And it's just, from the horse's perspective, just another hedge. But when you get up there, it's a whole different story.
It's like that shot in Jaws when everything goes like that. You go, my God, that's a huge gap.
Yeah, and some of the riders won't actually come and stand here. They just
Too frightened.
look at it from back there and think, okay, I've seen enough. And they walk around and go on to the next bit.
Count your strides, close your eyes, and hope for the best.
You've got a 9-foot space spread, and it's 4'9" high, so it's maximum dimensions. And it frightens a lot of riders.
Is this the biggest fence?
Yes.
Okay.
It frightens a lot of the riders. In fact, it's now got a reputation of being the most scary fence in the world from a rider's perspective. Yeah.
So fence 14.
Yeah, it's a
Dairy
table,
Mound.
really a little bit of a breather for the horses, having jumped the Cotswold Leap, and before coming round the corner to the next question, which requires a bit more effort again.
How many minutes are we at now? We're past 3, aren't we?
3 minutes was coming up the avenue.
Right, so...
We're coming up to 4 minutes after this.
Okay.
So here we've got a simple choice, left or right. Right, you've got 3 strides and a bit of accuracy.
Yeah.
Left, you've got 2 strides, but a lot of effort. The parallel bar is more effort than the draw brush. But time-wise, I think it's 6 2/3. It'll be what riders think they want to, what they think their horse is best at. Because next is the Dairy Mound, where they've really got to put their thinking caps on. Now we're at the Dairy Mound.
Oh.
And this gate coming up the hill looks super scary.
It does look super scary because
But
that's a steep rise up to something that's upright. I mean, it's solid and upright.
But you've got to believe that the uphill is going to help the horse.
Okay.
So as it comes up the hill, then it just continues on up over the gate. If you don't believe that, you need to take the alternative, which is on the left-hand side, which is just a normal, straightforward gate.
Right.
But this is, again, only the beginning, because the Dairy Mound has a sting in the tail.
Well, this is hard here.
Yeah, it's very steep, and obviously if it rains, it gets even more slippery.
Yes.
But riders have really got to be in control down here, because the horse is only thinking outright, but the riders have got to hold the horse into the left to, again, an angle downhill to a big corner. It's the Dairy Mound.
Big corner.
Traditional Burghley fence.
I thought those logs are big. This is big. And also, you've got to be so precise here.
Well,
This must cause problems. I mean, this does cause problems, I know.
Well, we hope not too much.
No, but it's...
but, you know, if you're not quite in control,
it's a hard one, isn't it?
You do have an option, yeah? You stay out here to the right, you can go round, jump the feeder between the trees, then circle left.
And then what I'm calling the easy corner.
Then that's, well, everything's relative, isn't it?
It's very relative, yes.
But it is a get out of jail.
Yeah.
And then the left option is, again, the feeder and down the steep hill and right-hand into the corner under the trees. But then, having finished here at the Dairy Mound, we're just coming up to 5 minutes. Cambridge is cutting, and probably the most difficult fence on the course, the Rolex combination.
So here we are, we're 5.5 minutes in, and we've come to the Rolex combination. This is a decent spread, decent oxer, first part.
Yeah, it's just 6 foot across the top.
6 foot, just barely astride.
But we've got to have a plan here because
Right.
If you want to go the straight route, you've got to jump that oxer with real pace,
Right.
because you've just got 4 strides to this angled rail over the ditch,
Okay.
and then just 4 more strides to the corner beyond. But of course, you'd really like to be on the right-hand side to give you a better shot at the corner, but this rail then is really in your face.
It's in your face.
And it's a massive
It's a
ditch
huge.
on the other side.
Yeah, I
But
was
the
going
more
to
this
say
side
that.
you go to make the rail easier, the more acute you make the angle
Angle
at the corner. So that's
And the option here is slightly tricky, I think.
if you're coming here, you jump the oxer
Yeah.
not so fast,
Yeah.
but on the right-hand side.
Right.
Then you have a bending 5 strides here, bounce over the ditch and over the rails, and then a bending 5 strides
To the
back to
other
the corner over there. And if you don't fancy either of those,
What are you doing at Burghley?
but having survived that,
Yes.
it's then on to the maltings,
Brilliant.
where we've got the next big question.
So, past 6 minutes, and we're at Jules at the maltings. 2 alternatives for A.
Yeah, really a choice. The big upright gate, which people tend not to like jumping, or on the left side, you've got the oxer on top of the mound.
Which looks fine from here, but I have to say, when you get up to here,
Suddenly it looks a big
it
fence.
suddenly looks like a big fence. I mean,
And you've got the drop off on the landing. Although I think actually most people will land just on the edge rather than down in the bottom.
right.
But you've got to have control. But the problem is, the next fence is this massive oxer. Well, from the gate, it's 5 strides. From the oxer, I know, probably 7 or maybe 8. And this is a very, very big fence. 2 metre top spread. And it doesn't look so much from here. But when you get there, that back rail's a long way away. Yeah. You can't touch the outside here.
Can't touch me. That's big.
If you don't have the jump you want, and this frightens you a little bit,
Yeah.
you can go on round and jump this other oxer, which is just the normal 180 top spread.
Yeah.
And you've got more time to position your horse where you want to position it.
Yeah.
But once
It's
again,
understandable. But
it's more steps, more time, and the clock is ticking.
and by now the clock is really ticking. I mean, you're on your way home, second half of the course.
But having
You want to be.
survived that, again you have the choice. The oxer by the building, 2 metre top spread,
Yeah.
or the smaller one down by the hedge. So this is a very different
So-
question to what they've had here in the past. It's about power, control,
Yeah.
and the ability to turn and jump a big fence.
Yeah.
But there is obviously the softer options.
Mm-hmm.
And then riders can take a breath and go on to the captain's log, which is a breather before they get to the trout hatchery, which is the next
Which
big
is
question.
really. Okay, here we are at the iconic trout hatchery.
Land Rover trout hatchery.
Land Rover trout hatchery. And you've got alternative brushes here, so you can come over this
Yeah,
one,
you've
which
got-
is a sizable brush.
Yeah, it's 145. It's a big brush. It looks
Yeah.
bigger because it's in a little bit of a hollow.
Yeah.
But what it actually determines here is whether you're going to go the faster way or the slower way. This log was here last year, and people sort of winged it, with the camber going the right way,
Yeah.
off the turn, and got launched out into the water, and then wondered why they fell, because they always get a lot of spectators here,
Yeah.
and the crowd love an early bath.
Yes, of course.
Or rather see a rider get an early bath.
Yeah.
But the takeoff is a little deceptive here. There's a little bit of downslope in front of the log, and what happened was, riders took off from a long way back, and then got a flat jump into the water, lost control, and the horses then crumbled.
Right, I
rather
see.
than getting a little closer and getting
And
a
hopping over.
round jump, land in control, because the next fence is that triple brush,
Yeah.
just 4 strides later, and that's going to come up very quickly after this drop. And then the final element is down in the lower tracheotomy, which we'll look at in a minute.
Okay.
But if you don't fancy this, there's a much smaller log on the other side, which you can just hop in, but then you have to go up out of the step, through the building, and then round to the triple brush on the far side of the Wellingtonia, which obviously takes longer.
A long time.
After that drop into the water, you're going to have both reins here.
Yeah.
And but if you get a good jump, you land on dry land.
Yeah.
Then there's another bending line, 4 strides, or some might take 5, back into the water, and over another triple brush, but this time water to water, which is just that much more difficult.
Well, I think because everyone thinks, well, they fall in here, they only get wet. They're not really hurting themselves.
Oh, well, hopefully they don't hurt themselves.
They all float. We've come up the hill, we're bone dry, we've got through the trout hatchery, and there's this.
Yeah, it's another big oxer.
It's a big oxer.
And then you've got the hollow behind. So the optic is a bit strange for the horse.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a drop, but I don't think it really will be.
Yeah.
But they really do have a choice here, the riders, because if they don't fancy this, they can jump the hedge here behind us, and then they have this other oxer, which is only a 160 tot spread, and if they jump it a little bit on the angle, they can avoid the hollow altogether. So jump it a little bit right to left, and go along the ridge there, stay out of the hollow. And I think quite a few people might just choose to give their horse a little easy here, give it a little breather, and take this option, even though it's one more effort, but it's only like 2 or 3 seconds. It might not be the worst move they've made, because they've had a lot of jumping in. So after Herbert's Hollow, it's a little bit of run downhill, past the 8-minute mark, to the Irish Horse Gateway, a big straightforward fence, but then Discovery Valley, which is a whole different question.
We're past the 8 minutes. How should we be travelling towards this?
Well, you've got to come with power, but not too fast, because this fence was here last year, and riders made the great mistake of not getting close enough, like to where I am. And then, of course, they got launched out the other side and then couldn't make the turn. You really need to get up to this, have a nice round jump, and then land in control on the other side.
Okay, let me have a quick look, see what's on the other side. I see.
Because you really don't want to land.
You're quite right there. You need to take care on this one.
You really don't want to land in the bottom, because if you land in the bottom, suddenly you're past the next fence, which is that green bonnet and the Discovery on the top of the hill. You'd really like to land up here.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's then really easy, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got 3 more strides up the hill, and just over the bonnet on a little bit of an angle, and away you go. But if they don't want to do that, there is the alternative, where they jump over the ditch, then the trunk, then the ditch again, and then the green bonnet.
Okay.
But if they miss the green bonnet, the get out of jail is the glider trailer with the Discovery on the front.
Lovely.
But having jumped that, they've just got a nice gallop out into the country, down to the Rolex Grand Slam rails, but basically a let-up fence, before the leaf pit at 9 minutes, which is the last big question on the course.
Okay.
And this cabin's a decent fence, because as the horses come to it, the optic is that they're just going to land out in the middle of nowhere in the bottom of the leaf pit.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't see that you're not going to land at the bottom of that hill there.
But I'm a little bit kinder than that. They do actually have somewhere to land. Yeah? And in fact, they've got a whole stride on the flat.
Before they hit with the precipice.
Yeah, and that's that's sort of heart in your mouth stuff as you go down there on a horse.
I imagine quite a tired horse by now too.
Well, because gravity takes over.
Yeah.
And you sort of have to go with the flow, which actually, even when you're on your feet, if you come down here on a wet morning, going down at this speed isn't an option.
I wouldn't fancy it in the wet.
But once in the bottom, you know, you've got 2 or 3 strides to the triple bar, which, with a little bit of an upslope, should give the riders a chance to sort of get all their ducks back in a row.
Yeah.
Over the triple bar, and then they've got a bending 2 strides up to another triple bar, and we find that that sort of 10% turn actually works quite well.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the sort of camber's working with you, and yeah, it's a decent fence, but you'd hope at this stage that the horses would jump that.
But the alternative is
Yeah, there's a smaller cabin
less slope.
on the right-hand side, and having more space to land, but having come down the hill, you then get a straight shot over the 2 triple bars, which obviously on a tired horse, the straightaway is that much easier, because you're not having to deal with the turn.
Yeah.
But the leaf pit behind you, it's back to Discovery Valley.
Bailey's Outshine combines omega oils from soya and linseed, which promote head-turning coat shine and condition, provide slow-release calories for controlled energy, improve stamina and support recovery, and all while helping you regulate starch and sugar in the diet. Let your horse shine from within with Bailey's Outshine High Oil Supplement.
So we're back into Discovery.
Yeah, fence 31. On the way home, coming up to the 10-minute mark. The glider trailer here, quite simple, nice round shape. Won't hold too many fears. But having landed over that, yeah, they've got just 3 strides with the ground a little bit here and there. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, with a ditch in front of another Discovery bonnet. Yeah, really more of a speed bump than a question at this stage of the course.
Yeah. That's not too bad, is it?
Not too bad. And then up into the arena, and we're nearly home.
So, Mark, fence 32, we're tantalisingly close to the end now. Horses are tired, but this must be quite exhilarating, coming into the ring, bit of atmosphere, and you've got a nice straight, uncomplicated line of fences.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because they've you know, when they left Discovery Valley, they passed the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
Actually, the atmosphere in here with all the people and the grandstand and the big screen.
Gives them a bit of a boost.
I hope so, yeah. But this question is supposed to be just a nice question. Over the hedge, very decorative. 3 strides, either straight or with a small bend in it. To the fountain. They have water cascading down the sides again.
Oh, right.
Plants all around.
So this is just the bare bones of the...
Yeah, it looks a bit naked.
This will be the Trevi Fountain by the end, yes.
It will look pretty.
Yeah.
And then again, either a straight line or with a little bend over another hedge, and it'll have lots of flowers around the side. It's a soft, forgiving fence, not too big. And then, you know, once they're over here, they turn to the right. They go out of the corner of the ring,
Right.
Around the oak trees. Now they really can start thinking of home. And they're a minute from home here.
Right.
And
So if they've got it in the tank, they can...
they'll maybe get 5 seconds back on the clock between here and the end, with just 2 more fences. But here and clear, you really
Happy.
are a happy camper.
Yeah. So Mark, we've been through the arena, we've jumped the picnic table, we're at the last fence.
And the turn into it through the bushes just sort of takes care of a bit of the speed, because having got this far, it'd be really nice if horses could have a nice jump here. And you know, it's a big track, it's Burghley.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope they get home
And
with a smile on their face.
how many do you think will be within the time?
Well, the time will be somewhere in the 11:20, 11:25 mark. We're sort of somewhere around 6,500 metres. I don't think the time is that easy. I don't think it'll be in double figures. But we do have top horses and riders here. So, you know, you hope that the best horses and best riders make it look easy.
Well, it's been brilliant going around with you, and I have to say it's changed my perception of how I look at a cross-country course now, because I used to just think they were terrifying. But having listened to how you think about them and the options you give the horse, I'm a changed person.
Well, let's just hope the...
I'm not so frightened anyway.
Well, let's just hope the riders make the right choices for
Yeah.
their horses, so the horses can come home happy. And because the more horses and riders that get home, the happier I am.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Enjoy your ride home.